So I've been seeing a lot of videos of XQC playing Dead by Daylight on stream, and I saw that he has a goal of getting to rank 1 as killer, which is freaking awesome. So I was watching one of his videos, which is this one, and I saw him playing a nurse game. So I'm going to do a gameplay review of it, and it's going to be more focused towards a kind of beginner macro type review instead of focusing more on the mechanics of the killer and like analyzing each blink and all that stuff, because honestly the killer's mechanics in this game just come by game volume, and it's not really something you can take in like a practice tool and just like grind out hundreds and hundreds of times. So without further ado, before my mouth dries up like the Sahara, let's get into it. So
Okay, enjoy.
he is at
Suckers.
Groaning Storehouse, which is a really awkward map because it kind of looks like this. It's got like a thing, and it's got this little chute here, and then it's got a box like that, and then it comes here, and then it goes like this, and it's got a little thing here, and then it's got a big fucking thing here. So Groaning Storehouse kind of looks like this. Kinda. So it's got an awkward gen here, an awkward gen here, sometimes like here, and then it's got this middle area with a weird gen here that's super, survivors can just run you forever. So really awkward stuff. Depending on how the game goes, it could be, you could play it super well and get him in like the classic 3 gen on this line, which is actually where he spawns, but the gens don't seem to look like they're stacking like that. Or you could basically have this one standing and this one standing and like this one standing, and you're just kind of fucked. So yeah, kind of a weird map, kind of difficult for a killer, not gonna lie. So yeah, we're gonna go into it. So first off, let's take a look at his perks. We're trying to keep this under 30 minutes. Every review I do is under 30 minutes, so we're gonna do it. All right, so the perks, he has every killer, but he doesn't have any of them really leveled up. So he doesn't really have any perks, which is fine. But he's using Nurse's 3 perks: Strider, Thanatophobia, Nurse's Calling. Great. If you don't know what it is, Dead by Daylight Wiki, look it up. So his add-ons are... I forgot the freaking names of them. But whatever. All I know is this one increases the blink distance, but also increases the blink charge time. And this one, I think it's, you can see if you injure a survivor and they heal within like 60 seconds, you can see them within like a 28 meter range or something like that. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're new to Nurse, you don't want to use range add-ons yet, because you haven't really developed a good enough baseline of the normal Nurse to use range add-ons. So if you start using range add-ons, you get adjusted to that, and then you play normal Nurse, and then you get all wigged out because the charge time is longer, the blink distance is shorter, or is longer, and then when you go to normal Nurse, it's shorter and short, and it's just like all out of whack. So don't use this. The Tooth is essentially a Nurse's Calling, but Nurse's Calling is just better because Nurse's Calling is all the time, and it's 32 meters. And Tooth is 60-second cooldown. So take out Tooth. Use these two add-ons. The 2 add-ons that you want to use are Fragile Wheeze and Dark Cincher. Dark Cincher and Fragile Wheeze are a green and yellow add-on that do the same thing. They decrease the cooldown of your blink timer. So with that being said, if you have them both, they stack. If you have them both equipped, they stack. And then basically you can do 2 blinks, and then by the time you're done fatiguing, it's about a 1 second wait time to where you'll have 2 blinks again. So a super good combo, which is pretty much what all comp nurses run. So enough of that crap. Here we go. So already off the bat, I'm seeing it right now. XQC runs into the same thing that a lot of beginner nurses do, and it is the fact that they think nurses blink is just an offensive tactic. It is, but it's also a movement utility, a map utility, whatever the hell you want to call it. It helps you get around the map really quick at the cost of the survivors knowing what killer it is off the bat. Who really cares? Because you're a nurse, it doesn't matter. They can't hop over the brick fence over here. No, use the blink, because the nurse's movement speed is slower than any standard killer's movement speed, because the nurse has this pretty badass ability. So beginning of the map, or beginning of the game, start blinking. Blink to, like, right now, I mean, you can guess, but I mean, since there are two kind of in the same general direction, I would go here. There's also that gen over here that it could have spawned at. So kind of the 3 gens that are the furthest away from you, I would just kind of prioritize those. But go off, blink. I'm not going to talk about any blinks. I'm not going to talk about a single blink this game, because it doesn't matter. It's like we're focusing on map and gen control, because if you got that down, you just got to play the killers. The one thing I will say, though, about a blink, is I see this a lot, is that nurses will blink when they have no line of sight, and they will do something called a prediction blink, which is essentially, let's come back here, essentially is you can't see the survivor, you have no idea where they are, so you just take a guess as to whether they're here or they double back and went there. Prediction blink. So these are not good. They're good sometimes, but they're like, they're usually not good, because when you play against competent survivors, bad survivors, they're more often than not, they're just going to keep running in a straight line, because they don't really know how to play against a nurse. But really good survivors, their entire goal against you is to create distance when you're fatigued, and then when you get, within blink range, to break line of sight from the nurse, because then it requires you to make these kind of guess blinks, prediction blinks, and more often, a lot of the times, you'll miss them against really good survivors. So the only time that you really want to use your, like, floating, moving, like, normal, like, walk is to regain line of sight. It's kind of the only time. So that being said, that's the only thing I'm saying about blinks. So fuck out of here. So gen spawns are a little weird, though, in this game, not gonna lie. Huh.
You said I had the range indicator, now I don't have it anymore. I'm getting rolled already, it's okay.
Could have had a nice hit there. So this is more map specific. I won't even really go into it. We just need to focus on the general macro of the game. I'm really surprised that hit. Okay, so I'm gonna go into it, because it honestly, it could apply for other maps. All right, so the biggest, I'm gonna tie it into something that's a key principle of the game as well. So the biggest kind of thing you want to think about in this game when you play killer is that your objective is not to just not to down survivors, but to basically put them in a scenario where you're able to protect your gens and also kind of just like down them here or there. You're able to make them work on the gens that you want them to work on. Because if you're just going off chasing killers here, there, that, whatever, then they're able to do the gens that they want to, which then will create a lot of gen spread, and then you won't be able to win because the distance between gens is too large. They'll be able to do gens every time you hop to another one, and you'll end up losing the game. So with that being said, chasing survivors constantly and chasing them into really bad sections of the map is not really beneficial. So this map, honestly, you could kind of just forfeit this gen over here, because then it eliminates this entire section of the map. So yeah, the biggest thing about this game is time management.
His objective is for me to kill them all.
It's the biggest thing about this game is time management.
When you hear a cling, it means they did a generator.
So if you are able to not waste time playing killer, you are a good killer. And that ties into mechanics, map control, gen control, all that stuff.
Buzzing like crazy, is it?
If you don't have any anti-looping ability, then your ability to mind game loops, that type of stuff. So there are three, so if you notice, there are three people going for this hook. Or not three people go for the hook, for the three people around the hook. You have one here, hook, another person here that makes a save. So that only means that one person is either A, doing fuck all nothing, or B, working on a gen, which is good, but there's only 2 gens left. So this is kind of the crucial part of the game where you need to make something happen. And as nurse, there's no killer better than this, at this scenario right here, than her. So just to kind of put that into perspective. Nice blink. Fuck yeah. Love that.
They might win the game though, I'm gonna be honest with you.
If he would have blinked earlier instead of doing the ring around, the Rosie, with the Claudette, he could have downed her, slugged her, and then he could have blinked elsewhere and gotten another survivor down and just had dual pressure, one on hook, whatever, and no gens, and it would have basically paused the gen count, or paused the gen progression.
Somebody's here. Got him.
So another prediction blink. And also, if you swing with nurse after you blink, the fatigue timer is longer. So you got to make sure you're gonna hit someone.
I see right there.
So 1 gen
That's why
to be completed. 3 possible gens. You got 1 at logs, 1 in mid, 1 in the very kind of awkward section. So the gen spread is pretty bad.
holy shit, that was insane.
That was a good blink. Kind of predicted, but a good blink.
Maybe not over though. I don't know. Oh, she's damaged. What? I lunged. This is actually broken.
So you could tell he's kind of starting to panic a little bit. I mean, it's a pretty high stress point in the game, but you could still definitely win. I've seen crazier things happen. Definitely.
Oh my god.
Solid.
Insane.
Solid.
We're rushing it.
Yeah, he'll just learn how to deal with those blinks. That's when you just do a short blink to get to her, because now you're just wasting time.
That kill.
So,
I need that. I really, really need it.
X, if you ever watch this video, I don't think you will. If you ever watch this video, I'm just gonna tell you one thing about this game. When the gens start flying, okay, this is what I tell every person I do a review with, or a game session with, whatever. It's what I tell every single person. When the gens start flying, every time a gen finishes, or every time you hook someone, every time the status of the game changes, you need to ask yourself a question. Okay, what can I do to apply pressure? What can I do to to make sure that I invoke my presence upon the survivors? Okay, like when a gen finishes, look at the gen spread. If there's a generator here, if there's a generator here, and there's a generator here, and then there's a generator all the way over here, and gen finishes, you're like, huh, I'm gonna let them have this one, and then I'm basically gonna camp these gens. This is called 3-genning. If you don't know what it is, essentially it's when there's one generator that is left to be completed, that means there's a total of 3 generators left on the map. If you are able to kind of make the gens be completed in a certain way, you'll end up having 3 gens left in a super close proximity, which then makes it almost impossible, especially as nurse, for the survivors to win the game. Doesn't matter what the game state is, because what's going to happen is they're going to be trying to constantly bounce on those gens. You're going to be knocking them off, hitting them, whatever, and they're going to try to run away, whatnot, drop pallets. But eventually they're not going to have any pallets left. They're not going to have any loops left, and you're just going to be able to down them at will, especially with nurse. They're not going to be able to run. So that's the biggest tip I can give so far, is that always be asking yourself a question in your head of, how can I apply pressure right now? What do I need to be doing? What gen has a lot of priority? What gen has the least amount of priority? All that stuff. What can I do to manage my time better? That was a good blink right there. You could tell he's panicking. Oh god, that's funny.
Yes.
So right now I would leave her and then go back. Go back to the hook. Because someone is about to unhook her, like, pretty soon. Maybe. What should happen. So no one's touching that gen. You can leave it. The big priority, honestly, the big priority would be, look, you have a hook here, and you have a hook here, okay? This gen is your fucking baby. Doesn't matter if they do that gen. Who cares? Who cares? Doesn't matter if they do that gen. Because essentially what you're doing is you're allowing, it's like you have a dam that is slowly breaking, and you're basically trying your hardest to keep that dam from breaking, even though it's inevitable. Okay, what you need to do is just let the dam break and just go on to the next position, go on to the next whatever the fuck I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying. There's 3 gens in a very shitty spot. One of them's getting done regardless. The gen behind you hasn't been touched, so it's not a high priority right now. The gen, over there could be getting done. Who knows? Who cares? You have 2 survivors hooked in between one gen that is in the middle of the 2 of them. You can easily bounce between those gens because you have, kind of this choke point here where you can just kind of sit, watch this hook, and then, honestly, if anyone tries to come and hook this person, they're going to die too. So, this is your priority right now. Not that gen. That gen will lose you the game. That gen will lose you the game. You just relinquished all your pressure. Because now you got people essentially behind lines and also a guy doing a gen. So we're going to kind of skip into it a little bit. So they finished the gen.
It's over.
and they got collided off at the last second.
They're right here.
So they play the late game actually pretty bad. I think he ends up getting 1 kill.
Come on, come on.
Um,
No, you're not going anywhere.
all right, so I think he ends up getting 1 kill in the end here. Just kind of late game madness. So, so here's kind of the summary that I would give X if he ever watches this. If not, no harm, no foul. I don't care. So, number 1, I would say say blink everywhere. Okay? Blink everywhere. This W is giving me... Okay. Blink everywhere. Okay? You lose a lot of time walking as Nurse or floating, whatever the fuck she does. You lose a lot of time doing that as Nurse because she's slow. Blink a lot more. Just, yeah, whatever. Okay. Number 2. Ask yourself the question. What can I do to apply more pressure? What can I do to win? Every time you hook, every time they finish a gen, what can I do to apply pressure? Okay? Every time they finish a gen, look at the gen spread. Be like, okay, I want to single out these 3 gens, and there we go. All right? Every time you hook someone, look around. What's the highest priority generator right now? Look at the gen spread. What generators do I want to single out? Do I want to play more hook, like more towards the hook? Do I want to play, is this gen a super, like later down the games in the game state? Will this gen be one of my 3 gens for my 3 gen, strategy? This one's a priority, whatever. The hook doesn't matter. It was just kind of a lucky hook. So that's also the thing. So no prediction blinks. I say no, but it's okay sometimes. Sometimes you have to. Prediction blinks are a bad way to play Nurse. They get punished super easily. So the better you get, and if you get to that rank 1, goal, prediction blinks won't be shit. They will sometimes, but most of the times they won't be shit. So limit the prediction blinks. It'll help you. So the only time you want to walk is when you're regaining line of sight, which you will see if you ever play like Larry's or Lab or Midwich. Is the line of sight gets lost fairly quickly. So you have to regain that a lot. I'm trying to think. I think that's all of it. Honestly, he's pretty solid for just kind of picking up the game. I think he picked it up like 6 months ago or something. I don't think he plays it like every day, obviously. But he's pretty solid at the game. I just think, he just needs to learn some kind of macro principles and, learn that, I guess which number 4 would be. Uh, time management. That's like, that is playing killer, is time and generator management. That's it. Like, just not wasting time. That's pretty much the scope of it all. Because, I mean, the more time you waste, the more time they can do generators, the more time they can do a lot of other stuff. So honestly, if you are able to just do these 4 things, I mean, this and this apply to every killer. Every killer. The mechanics just come with game volume. But X, if you ever watch this, first of all, thank you for watching it. If not, whatever. No harm, no foul. But I hope you reach your goal. I hope to see you at rank 1 someday. If you watch this video, I think it'll get you there just a little bit quicker. So, without being said, I'm out, and that is another review.